Good morning. I'm Laurel Brooks, and it is my honor today to introduce our speaker who really needs no introduction, Miss Carylanne. Carylanne's speech is titled Transformational Moments, Near Death and Love, a Message of Awakening. Carylanne is an ordained minister in the Order of Melchizedek, a seasoned spiritual mentor, teacher, energy medicine, and meditation practitioner, life and soul coach. She believes wellness is a state of being and that laughter is essential. Prayer, gratitude, heart-centered living, and meditation are foundations for her life. She is a student of New Thought and ancient wisdom teachings. Her holistic practice, Carylanne Wellness, is here in Virginia Beach, and for 25 years, she has served clients worldwide. You may learn more about her on her website, Carylanne.com. So it is my pleasure to introduce my friend and speaker, Carylanne.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Oh, I'm so grateful to be here today, to be alive and awake, and to hear this wonderful music, and just to see so many smiling faces this morning. And that song was really, really very touching. Thank you for that. This morning I woke up and I was having trouble breathing all week, was having this, which I don't usually get, and I woke up and I was like, this is the day that the Lord has made, and I just kept hearing it and singing it, and I'm going up and down the stairs, and I'm hearing it, and I'm singing it. So I thought it would be beautiful if we all say it together. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Yes? Yes, this is the day. This is the day. So Jesus, Yeshua, ben Joseph, Christ as one as we know him, is the way. Is the way. There's one way, and there's one truth, and there's one life, and that one truth, and that one life, and that one way is love. And love is always the answer, because love is the only causation. Love is the causation of me. Love is the causation of you. Love is truly the only thing that is ever, ever, ever going on in its truth. But we sometimes forget, and that's where transformational moments and near-death moments and awakening moments bring us to the knowingness that there is only one and that we are one with it. And I truly believe that every near-death experience, every transformational moment, every moment of fear, every moment of worry, every moment of wonder, every moment of inspiration is actually an opportunity to remember that you are one with God. And whatever happens from the transformational moment is what unites you again and again and again, and even in more and unique ways. And so getting ready for this talk, I was really considering, well, it's Advent Sunday, and it's all about faith and hope and new beginnings and the bringing of the light. And I was thinking about near-death experiences that I've had. And so I thought I'd share a couple of those with you today. But first, I want to just share this with you. Life is a miracle. Love is a miracle. A transformational moment is one that takes you from one state of consciousness to another. It is usually very unexpected. It is not something that you ever could have planned because it's not about you. It's about your soul. It's a significant event that causes a profound and lasting change in someone's perspective, outlook, belief, behavior, which leads you to live in a new direction. It leads you to live in a different or greater state of consciousness, okay? Now, a near-death experience is described as an experience when someone comes close to what we call dying and has memories of a spiritual experience. Some people meet Jesus or Buddha or a family member or that is crossed over. A near-death experience is one where you literally could stop breathing for a certain amount of time and you leave the physical plane to experience the higher plane. Okay? And you come into the physical plane changed by whatever experience you may have had and whatever you may remember. Love is kindness, it is ever giving, ever generous, it is God, it is the universe, it is omnipresent, eternal, and it is absolutely what every single person on the planet is made up of. Every single person is an expression of the one. And it doesn't matter if you like them or if you don't like them or if you agree with them or if you don't agree with them. They are emanations of God, every single person. And if we can wake up to that, if we can have a near-death experience that wakes us up to that, then that would be the true awakening that's happening on the planet. That's helping us to awaken into something so much greater than ourselves. So the first experience I will tell you about happened when I was about 18 or 19. I was living in New York at the time, and I loved swimming. And so I would always go down to the beach as much as I could. And I went down one morning to Robert Moses, and it's a beautiful drive and stretches of land, and beach goes on forever. And I get down there, and there's nobody on the beach except me and the Most High. And I dive into the ocean, and I'm swimming around, and I'm having a great time. And all of a sudden, I realize I'm really, really way far out. I'm way far out. And there's no one around. And I'm like, okay, I got to start swimming back in. And all of a sudden, the current got really, really strong. And it keeps pulling me back. It keeps pulling me under. And I'm swimming really, really hard, and it's pulling me under. And all of a sudden, I just went under the water. And everything became so completely still in that moment. And I had been fighting. I had been fighting the water, and I had been fighting to breathe, and I had been fighting and fighting and fighting. And all of a sudden, there was absolute silence. And I heard, "Let go." And I felt my feet hit the bottom. And I really have no idea how long I was under the water. And then all of a sudden, the water starts moving in a different direction. And these two very, very strong arms pull me out and throw me onto the beach. And I believe that was Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel, because there was nobody else on the beach. And I get up on the beach, and I'm like covered with sand, like my face is covered with sand, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm on the land, and I'm like, and I'm alive. And I'm looking around because I really wanted to see if anyone saw it. Like, did someone see those angels? Did someone see any of that? Because my experience of that was truly astounding and remarkable. And so, I'm kind of crawling to my blanket because I can't even believe that I made it. And I feel this little tap on my shoulder that says, wake up. Now, back then, I wasn't really on a spiritual path that I knew of. And so I laid in the sun for a pretty long time, and I kind of got my bearings and drove home and didn't tell anybody because I didn't know who to tell, and I didn't know what to say. I knew that something inside of me had changed. It was a pivotal moment, a transformational moment that changed me, that let me know that there was something much greater than myself in that water with me. And there is always something much greater than yourself that is with you at any given time, in any given day. I will tell you that. And so from that day on, I was changed in a way that now I understand brought me to a greater awareness of love and appreciation for life. When you're 18, 19, you think that you're just the biggest, hottest stuff in the world, right? You think nothing can touch you, and you know all the answers, and you don't. You really don't. And then something like that happens that changes your trajectory. It changes the course that you're on. Now, I'm going to backtrack. When I was 8, 9, 10, or 11, my neighbors invited me to go to their church, and I grew up in a synagogue. I had never been to a church, but I always wondered, why Jesus wasn't in the synagogue. I didn't understand why he wasn't there. And I'm like, where is Yeshua? And so I go to this church, and we're driving down the road to get there, and it's called the Holy Name of Jesus. And I get down, we get and we get out of the car, and there's this exquisite stained glass, which I'm sure many of you have seen in different churches and places, of him, with all the colors of the light around him. And I look up and I see that, and I'm like, there you are. And I literally felt like he said to me, there you are. Where have you been, right? And so I went home after that experience, and I'm like, Mom, how come we're not going to church? I don't understand. So that moment of going to that church on that day prepared me for the moment on the beach, right? Which then prepared me to accept Christ later on in my life when I was going through some of the biggest challenges of anxiety and depression. And the only thing really that got me through that was the presence. There is never an absence. And you have to know that the presence loves you. The only thing the presence really wants for all of us is to know that we are loved and to know that we are love. And that's really why we're here. So if there's one answer, as Chris was singing, like he didn't know there was one, the one is love. It's the one. That's what Yeshua and Buddha and all of them have been saying. And so the one love, the one light, the one presence, the one that is everywhere present is always seeking you. This presence is always seeking you. This presence is always seeking to know you, to be you, to express as you, because that's why you're here. You know, the reason that we look at Yeshua, we look at Jesus in such a way is because all he spoke was love and peace and joy. All he spoke was about loving thy neighbor as thyself. All he spoke about was that there is one way, and that way is through love. And that's what we're all trying to remember, really. When we argue with a friend, or we disagree, or we don't like who is in an office, or whatever it is, if we can just remember that we're here to love and we're here to be the expression of love, it doesn't really matter whether or not you agree with anybody except for God. Because the presence of God knows you better than anything in the world. And that presence loves you. Because that presence is you. And that's the reason that we're here, you know? It's like a lot of times we feel like something's missing, and that's because we've forgotten who made us. We forgot what's really real. And in those moments of suffering, which we're hopefully coming out of now as we enter into this new paradigm, the way through is always the way of love. The way through is always the way of peace. The way through is always to remember why you're here. And every near death, whatever that is for you, someone cuts you off on the street and you end up on the side, you know, of the road, and you're like, oh my God, that was a close call, right? That was a close call. And that close call gets your attention so that you can stop and pause and listen and reunite with the presence so that you can remember who you are. You know, nothing happens by accident. There are no accidents and there are no mistakes. Every one of you is here by divine appointment, as am I today, as is my friend Laurel. Like, we are all here because we knew that we needed to come into this fellowship to hear a song, to hear a word, to hear a message of hope, to hear that there's something greater. There's something greater happening here. And each one of us is a really important part of it. Do you see? You know, when I was 2 years old, I fell and I cracked my head open on a marble table. And I went out. I left my body. And Jesus, Yeshua, was there. And he took me by the hand and we walked through the field. And he told me that there was going to come a time. Now, I didn't remember this at 2 years old. I remembered this in a regression. He told me that there was going to come a time when he was going to ask me to speak. And this is that time. So whatever you're being asked to do, however you're being guided to share love and share light and speak a word, this is the time. This is the time. You know, the first time that I spoke in depth about some of the near-death experiences was at the ARE. And I was so nervous because, you wonder, like, what are people going to think of you when you tell them that you almost drowned and these angels came and threw you back onto the beach? Like, is anyone even going to believe that that's true? Is anyone even going to believe that that's possible, that there's something so much greater than us that's actually with us all the time, whether it's an angel or Christ or Buddha or our Divine Mother? And then you say, you know what? I know it happened. I know it's real. I know that God is real. I know that the universe is for us. I know that the entire universe is always working for our good in every moment, in every step, in every breath. And it's up to us to align with it. How many people have had some type of near-death experience? Yeah. And I bet there's a lot of people that you know that have, and they just haven't told you yet. But they will. They will. So Yeshua, the master, the way shower, the great physician, Emmanuel, the Prince of Peace, the one is present in you. This morning I was praying, and the person praying with me said, the Christ presence ever-giving reservoir of light and love is everything that you are, is everything that I am, is everything that every person on the planet is. So take a breath with me and breathe into that you are that Christ presence, you are that divine presence, you are that very essence of love. And that presence is seeking to express itself as you. In every moment, in every breath. So take another breath. And if you feel comfortable, close your outer eyes, open your heart, breathe into that centered space within you where love is. And just imagine that you're walking up to the barn on the day of the birth of the one we know as Yeshua, Jesus, the Christed one, and you come to the door and there's a commotion inside. And it's filled with light. And you walk in. And the straw is beneath your feet. And Mary is holding the babe. And she motions you to come over. And you sit beside her. And her light is so bright and her love is so warm that it envelops you so completely. And then she takes the babe and places the baby, Yeshua, Jesus, in your arms. And you look into the eyes of the Christed one, and you see yourself. You see the light that you are, and the hope that you are, and the joy that you are, and the peace that you are. Let's sit with him for a moment. remember who you are. He came to teach us that we are light, that we are love, that we are peace. And as you hold this beautiful bundle of complete light and joy in your arms, feel that light and that joy and that peace flow into every cell of your body. His light, your light, connecting and communing and becoming one light. One light. You remember who you are in this moment. And you hand the babe back to the Divine Mother, our beautiful Mary. And this is a transformational moment. You are changed by this experience. And you take a breath here. And you take this experience with you as you go forward on your journey into this beautiful season of light, of joy, of love, of peace. And as you take a breath, you walk out of the barn back into this sanctuary, allowing your eyes to open, remembering you are light, you are loved, and you are love. How grateful I am to be with all of you today, that we may be the presence of love. Thank you.
Thank you.